He's a salesman. He's trying to sell the fight, which is good, you know. That's what he's known for. That's why they bring him out over and over. How I speak is inside the ring with my hands. You know, I know this is entertainment, but when we go inside the ring and punch each other in the face and break each other's faces, isn't that enough entertainment? I'll show you in the ring why I'm the world champion. We all want to win. All want to be the champion, the best in the world.
I would say every morning you got a chance and you got a choice. You know, there's no such thing as luck. It's what you make of it.
To this point where, you know, hard work, dedication, family legacy. My dad was a former boxer. My brother is Ennis and Fondora Storm. They was former boxers, and they created this champion from the hood, from Germantown. Their talent was through the roof, both of them. And I feel like they would have been multi-weight division world champions if they would have locked in and put the hard work and dedication in. That's another thing that motivated me. Like, I see how far my brothers got without the hard work and dedication. So imagine what I can do with the hard work and dedication, and then me and my brothers being together, and then I got both of these styles and my dad's style mixed in one. I feel like we're gonna take it to the roof. Yeah, we take on whatever come our way, you know, and we don't want to leave, you know.
There's a hook behind too.
Bouts displays unwavering confidence, stating he is comfortable on the back foot or pressing forward, and that he believes he is superior in every category of the sport.
Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable wherever is it, you know, but I mean, either one, it don't matter. It could be, I could be on the back foot, I could be pressing forward. I'm comfortable either way. I mean, I said for you, a solid fighter. Yeah, he got good fundamentals, and that's it. Like he's like solid fighter. You know, he'll world champion for a reason, but he can't do nothing better than me. He can't jab better than me. He can't hook better than me. He's not slicker than me. He's not faster than me. He's not stronger than me. It's none of that. I'm better than him at every category, and he gonna see on first night. I mean, he gonna see on fight night, and he gonna see firsthand.
Sean Porter explains that while Jaron Ennis looks incredibly skilled and electric on screen, fighting someone like Sebastian Fundora in real life is a completely different challenge. He uses the analogy of an actor being one way on screen but different in reality. Porter argues that Fondora's unique size and style force opponents to change their approach, meaning Bouts cannot just rely on his usual speed and power. He needs a specific game plan to overcome the difficult opponent standing right in front of him.
The analogy is like, you see, and we'll use Jamie Foxx as an example. That's my guy. So let's say Fox is one thing on screen, and then off screen, he's a completely different person. You just don't know, you know. So on screen, Bouts looks like he's supposed to beat Sebastian Fundora because he's so fast, because he's so electric, because he's shown tremendous power, because he's shown so many different movements and techniques, and everything jumps off the screen when it's Bouts Ennis. But then when you got, like I always like to say, another weapon standing across from you, negating some of the things you do, forcing you to turn off some of the stuff you do. Now here's the thing that makes this guy dangerous to Bouts. What I feel I know about Bouts, I don't know if they game plan. To me, it's...
Sean Porter expresses doubt about whether Jaron Ennis' team uses a tailored game plan. He argues that rather than just relying on natural talent to beat anyone, fighters must prepare specifically for the opponent standing across from them. Porter notes that Sebastian Fundora is a dangerous fighter who forces opponents to negate their own strengths, and he is confident that Fundora will come into the ring fully prepared with the right weapons for the job.
Seems like Bouts is like, and Dad Bozy, we just gonna get you ready. Can't nobody beat you. Well, sometimes you got to get ready for the guy across from you. And what I now know about this dude, he getting ready for who's across from him. And that's why I'm breathing like that, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, he's going to be ready. He's going to have the right weapons, and he's going to be calling on the right weapons all night long. I have no doubt about that from this dude right here. And I know with all 16+ plus weapons.
Sean Porter continues his breakdown by explaining that Boots Ennis cannot just try to use all 16+ weapons he has in his arsenal. Instead, he needs to be highly selective. Porter uses an analogy of choosing specific tools for a task, like deciding to use a shotgun or a stab, rather than everything at once. The core point is that to beat an opponent like Sebastian Fundora, Boots must come to the ring prepared to use only the specific 8 weapons that are effective against him, rather than relying on his full, broad range of skills.
That Boots got, Boots be like this.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta, nah, bruh. With this one right here, it's gotta be, all right, shotgun, don't do him. All right, stab him, all right, done. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta be pulling out the right things at the right time. We gotta be prepared to come to the ring with 8 weapons that we know we need against this dude. Not 16 weapons because we got 16. And to me, that's the difference between a Boots Ennis and a Sebastian.
Porter explains Fondora is a unique challenge because his extreme height and size change how a fight feels in person compared to watching on screen. He also critiques Keith Thurman's recent performance, noting that while he likely had a game plan, he lacked an effective backup plan when his initial strategy failed to work against his opponent.
Force you to turn off a lot of what you have. So I don't know. I don't know.
Your point about off screen and on screen. Yeah, you'll watch it. That's what Keith did. Keith studied this dude front to back. He told us a week ago.
Yeah.
He knew everything about him.
Yeah.
But like your point, off screen and on screen. Then in person, you go, once it's fight night and he's across from you and throwing 60 punches, you go,
Yeah.
that motherfucker is really tall.
Yeah.
He's really big.
And
it's different.
It's different. And you spar with heavyweights because they're that height. And you know, and it's just on fight night, things are just a tad bit different. I will say this about Keith. I don't think he game planned for this fight. I think they had an initial game plan, but I think once that wasn't working, he didn't know how can I get to it. You know what I mean?
So game plans.
Game plans, yeah.
Plural.
Yeah.
You said game plan.
Yeah, I know.
Jaron Boots Ennis discusses his boxing style. He describes himself as a boxer-puncher, but emphasizes that he can do whatever he wants in the ring. He notes that in each fight, he aims to provide something different, highlighting that in his last performance he focused on dog work, while in previous fights he showcased his ability to box, move, and avoid getting hit. He compares his versatility to a variety bag of chips, stating he can adapt to whatever the situation requires.
I feel like I'm a boxer puncher, but I really do whatever I want though. For real. I can do whatever I want in the ring, and that's another thing. Like each and every fight that I have, I'm giving y'all something different. This last fight, I just gave y'all some dog work. The fight before that, I gave y'all first round knockout. The fight when I first stand on this, I was boxing and moving, not getting hit. Like I do whatever I want in that ring with these guys, and I feel like I'm like a variety bag of chips. Like whatever you want.
Virgil Ortiz explains that he has been consistently pushing for the fight against Jaron Boots Ennis. He emphasizes that he has given his team the green light every time they ask him about it. He clarifies that the only reason the fight hasn't happened yet is because the other side simply hasn't accepted it, noting that the delay.
I've been pushing for the fight. You know, every time they ask me, I give them the green light. You know, it's only been one-sided green lights coming from out over here. The reason that the fight hasn't happened is simply because they haven't taken the fight.
You know, Eddie Hearn said this week that the deal that was agreed to prior to Boots' most recent fight is now no longer the deal that's in play. Effectively, Virgil, what he's saying is that there need to be concessions on your side. Are there concessions that you would be willing to make to get this deal done?
I mean, I want the fight to happen. You know, that's kind of more of a manager question. You know what I mean? They just ask me if I want to fight. I say, yeah. They work out the number.
Virgil Ortiz explains that while many fans praise Jaron Boots Ennis for his defense, he has watched him get hit by fighters who aren't even big punchers. Virgil notes that he saw Boots struggle with his reaction after getting tagged in his recent fight. He confidently states that those are vulnerabilities he knows he can exploit and asserts that if he were the one in the ring instead of Xander Zayas, he would have stopped Boots in the 3rd round.
Touched by fighters that can't really punch, and I knew it was only a matter of time before he would get touched and we would see something. The only thing that we hadn't seen was how he would react. And based off what I saw, was not very good on his end. And I just think that's something that I can effectively capitalize on.
Do you think Xander missed some opportunities there in that 3rd round?
I think Xander did what he could, and I think that he worked well with what he did. Because look, Jaron is still, he's still defensively, capable of making people miss shots regardless of if he was hurt or not. So I think Xander did what he could. But if that was me instead of Xander, I would have stopped him in that third round.
Virgil Ortiz discusses his frustration regarding the path to a title consolidation fight against Sebastian Fundora. As the interim WBC 154-pound champion, he notes that he and his team have already requested this fight through his promoters and during meetings with WBC President Mauricio Suleiman, yet he remains confused as to why the fight hasn't been ordered.
What is your message to the WBC about your availability to fight Fondora as early as this fall?
Well, we already called Mauricio Solomon, and we've asked for this fight before. We asked for it when in person when we met with Golden Boy. We were on the phone side by side with Golden Boy with Mauricio, and we asked for the fight.
Eddie Hearn shifts focus to the boxing landscape at 154 pounds and introduces Sebastian Fundora, often called the Towering Inferno. He discusses the business side of the sport, noting that Tom Aspinall's profile has grown significantly since joining his management team. He also highlights the contrast between the high spending in boxing and the lower pay for UFC fighters, stating that his goal is to better understand and represent his fighters within that ecosystem.
Look at them, understand them, look at what they're thinking, and also the pivot for us to MMA is inevitable. But I want to do it when I understand the sport, when I've got a great relationship with the ecosystem, the fighters, the trainers, and I understand the contracts, what they're being paid, and which is frightening at times. I mean, frightening at times. I mean, they're splashing a cash around in boxing. They need to save some for the UFC guys, because those guys are in absolute war, putting their life on the line, and they're making peanuts. And it's not good. It's not good. So, our job is to fight their corner. We came on with Ian Gary a little bit after that Islam fight was made, so our job more on the commercial side. But with Tom Aspinall, our job is to also consult with him, deal with the UFC, and get ready for a potential fight against Cyril Gane.
Any word on?
Not yet. We've told the UFC we're ready, and we're just waiting for them to come back to us with some numbers.
Eddie says fighting Sebastian Fundora is a massive challenge because of his unusual 6 feet 6 inches height and long reach. It makes his style very hard to prepare for, as punches seem to come from everywhere. Many elite fighters have struggled against him because they simply can't adapt to his unique physical advantages. Eddie Hearn believes that to beat someone like Fundora, you need top-tier ring intelligence and the ability to adjust your game plan on the fly. He remains confident that Jaron "Bouts" Ennis has exactly the kind of elite IQ required to solve the puzzle and overcome that massive reach.
He's taller than Joshua, I think, or maybe the same height.
He's a 154-pounder, but you've got to be good enough to adapt to everything. And that's the problem. A lot of these guys, no disrespect to Keith Thurman, but he's been done for a while. Yeah. But Tim Tszyu, these kind of guys, they're all great fighters, but they just can't adapt to styles. Josh has got an unbelievable IQ. Bouts has probably got the best IQ in the game, I think. They can adapt in those kind of fights, and that's what you need to do, because Fondora is a massive problem.
Yeah.
Because how do you prepare for it? Well, it's only, until you get in there, start getting hit by these arms coming from anywhere.
Yeah.
But he's a great fighter, and that's what we want to see. We want to see the best be the best.
Gotcha.
Eddie Hearn shares his belief that Jaron "Bouts" Ennis is destined to become the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. He compares this upcoming matchup to the iconic Mayweather-Canelo fight, noting that a young, generational talent is rolling the dice by taking a massive challenge early in his career. He highlights that Xander Zayas is a serious threat because he is talented and brave enough to step into the ring for such a high-stakes fight.
I think he's so good, honestly. Like I think Bouts Ennis is a future pound-for-pound #1 of the sport, but you have to produce. This, to me, feels a bit like Mayweather-Canelo in the point of a young generational great who's rolling the dice probably a little bit too early. But that's what made Canelo great, is the fact that he took that kind of fight and had the balls to do it. So you have to respect Zayas, and the fact that he's willing to do it is a serious threat, because he's not an idiot. Top rank aren't idiots.
Like they think
do you should
Oscar de la Hoya praised Jaron Boots Ennis, describing him as a machine and calling his victory a tremendous performance. He also gave credit to Xander Zayas, acknowledging that the young contender is still gaining experience while expressing confidence that he'll return stronger, calling him a great fighter. De La Hoya wrapped up by urging the boxing world to make a showdown between Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz Jr., saying it's the biggest fight that can be made in boxing today.
Ennis, what a great fight. You are a machine. Zayas, a little inexperienced, but you will be back. You're a great fighter. Let's make the biggest fight in boxing today. Virgil Ortiz, Boots Ennis, let's go!
Fondora believes he has the tools to defeat Ennis in any type of fight, whether it's a technical boxing match or a hard-fought battle on the inside. He says he's confident in adjusting his style based on what the fight demands. Speaking about Xander Zayas, Fondora praised his boxing skills and ring IQ but pointed out that Zayas isn't naturally comfortable fighting at close range. According to Fondora, although Zayas had the size advantage, trying to force an inside fight drained his energy and ultimately worked against him.
I think I beat him in both ways. I can outbox him and I can bang for sure. Because, I mean, we know how this guy fights, Xander fights. He's a good boxer, great boxer, smart boxer, but he's a boxer. He doesn't like to bang. He's the bigger guy, but, I mean, that's not something he's comfortable with. You see the condition, it wasn't meant for that. If he would have boxed, I mean, I guess he would have lost. He thought this guy had too much punch, or whatever the case, he didn't want to box him. He didn't want to give him his time. So, but when the second he had stepped it up, the pressure, he got tired himself because he didn't train that way. He doesn't fight that way.
Oscar de la Hoya said the result unfolded just as he expected. He praised Xander Zayas for showing determination despite his limited experience, describing him as a talented but still developing fighter. De la Hoya believed Jaron Boots Ennis would use his experience to gradually take over the fight and eventually score the stoppage, which is exactly how the bout played out.
Looked against Zayas.
I expected that. Zayas is a fighter who is a green fighter who has little experience, but I expected a great fight because Zayas has a big heart and Boots Ennis has a big heart. So I expected a clash and I expected Boots Ennis to have the more experience.
Sebastian Fundora shared his thoughts on the Jaron Boots Ennis vs Xander Zayas fight, explaining that technical issues prevented him from watching the entire bout. From the action he did see, he felt the contest was competitive early on before the momentum began to swing. Fundora called it an entertaining matchup and praised both fighters for putting on a strong performance.
It was entertaining. From what I saw, I didn't watch the whole fight because, you know, DAZN was having technical difficulties out there. It sounds kind of bad, right, what we're doing today, but, you know, they're doing their thing. From what I saw, it looked competitive. It looked competitive until it wasn't, of course, but, you know, that was good. That was good. Good fight for both of them.
Okoye argues that it's unfair for Andre Ward to expect near-perfect performances from Boots, especially considering Ward himself was hurt by opponents viewed as less accomplished during his own career. He also pushes back against the criticism surrounding Boots, pointing out that he's facing elite, unified champions who are skilled enough to land clean shots. According to Okoye, taking punches is simply part of boxing at the highest level and shouldn't be used to diminish Boots' performances.
And that's why you got dropped. So to hold Boots to this standard as if you don't understand that aspect, I thought was a little disingenuous, because I'm like, bro, you've been hurt worse by less. So why would you be so critical of his defense and so on when you've been hurt worse by lesser fighter? He got hit by a unified champion who can punch a little bit. He ain't a knockout artist, but he can punch at 54. Cool.
But Okoye argues that if Boots adopted an overly cautious, defense-first approach simply to avoid taking punches, he would face a different kind of criticism. He believes critics would accuse him of being too cautious, fighting in an unexciting style, or avoiding the toughest challenges instead of taking on elite opponents.
In fights and not get hurt at all or hit at all. If he was, and this is why Roy Jones, I respect him and why he understood things when he was talking, because if he was doing that and watching top-level competition without getting hurt, then they would say, you ain't fighting nobody, right? Because he beating them too easy, right? So which one do you want? You got to pick and choose. You can't have both sides of the argument. He's not challenging himself because he's not fighting guys that can.
Both Danny and Stephen Gandy say that representing their hometown of Philadelphia carries a great deal of pride and responsibility. Reflecting on their childhood, they mentioned several legendary Philadelphia fighters they looked up to, including Boots Ennis, who inspired them and helped shape their passion for the sport.
Philly fighters that you guys admired coming up.
Boots, definitely Boots. And it means a lot. It means that we have a responsibility to uphold being from our city. It's a responsibility that drives deep in us, being boxers. And J-Rock too, Scooter. It's a lot of fighters that we look up to in the city.
Jaron Boots Ennis reflected on the action-packed third round, maintaining that he was never seriously hurt despite the intense exchanges. He said he remained calm, recovered immediately, and regained control of the fight. Looking back, Ennis acknowledged that he can't afford to lose focus in the ring and must stay disciplined and alert every second as he continues his pursuit of greatness.
Year, mesmerizing stuff. He did land some shots on you. At any point, did he stun you? Did he hurt you at any point, would you say?
That third round, I watched it. Like I said, I watched it like three times, and just me being on some lazy stuff, and you can't do that. You can't be on lazy type time. But it looked from I see what people were saying, it looked crazy. But if you really sit there and watch it, like I wasn't hurt. If you really sit there and watch, I wasn't hurt because, like I said before, these guys that when you hurt, you're not about to sit there and bang it out and. Bro, people gonna move. They're gonna slide off the ropes. They're gonna try to be on retreat. I wasn't on no retreat. I was in the pocket right there, and just right there with him. I was trying to catch him between. I was trying to catch him between shots.
It was amazing, man. The action, both of you. I mean, just in the trenches like that. That one shot, the right hand where your head goes back. It's just so rare to see you get hit like